Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Town Council holds its first meeting of 2010 on Thursday night with an agenda that includes the annual tax classification public hearing. Earlier today, Kevin sat down with Assistant Town Manager Tom Lynch, who provided a preview of what's in store.
First, Happy New Year to all of you, and this is the first Town Council meeting of 2010, and Fred Chirigotis was re-elected as president, and James Crocker will be the vice president. So this is the new leadership team and starting off the new year, and one of the most controversial items that always comes up is this whole tax classification issue. Basically, there's already, last year the assessor held a workshop on it. So this will start off with public hearings on the three ordinances so that the public and the community can get up and testify on them. The first one is the residential exemption. And none of these affect the actual amount of money that you collect under the taxes. It's how you might distribute the burden of paying those taxes. So the first will be whether or not there's a residential factor adopted that shifts more of the burden toward business versus residential. And in the past, they've generally chosen to use a factor of 1, which has an equal payment there. And but the business community, I'm sure, will testify. Citizens will testify as to who's paying what. And Jeff Rudziak, the Director of Assessing, will be there to explain what the financial implications would be if they wanted to change that. The residential exemption is where you'll tax properties of a certain amount, have a higher tax burden than other properties, and the cutoff on that is, were they to adopt this residential exemption, would be that properties that are taxed at $780,000 or greater would carry a higher tax burden than ones under. That's if they adopted that burden. The other is a small business owners exemption. So we'll all listen to the debate on that and see how it plays out.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Yep.
Let's talk now about the 3 grants that the Town Council will most likely accept. First is the grant for traffic enforcement. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, it's a $15,000 grant. Some is for equipment, the others to pay for personnel to enforce these grants. And they're the click it a ticket and also the don't drive drunk, initiative that's been going on at the state level. So this would enable our Barnstable Police to, increase that overall enforcement. And I think traffic enforcement is one of those areas that we hear about where individuals, want to feel safe on the highways and byways of our town, and certainly using the seat belts and enforcing drunk driving laws is very important.
Arts and culture initiatives within the town is a major force. Could you tell us about this other grant?
The other grant would help with the Harbor Year Arts in the downtown Main Street area and help promote that overall initiative.
Could you just tell us a little bit more about some of the arts and culture initiatives that are going on and the importance of them?
It's so important that on Barnstable This Morning, which aired this week, they've actually got a regular slot where they can talk about all the activities that are going on Pearl Street or the Gaia Barn or whatever, and through under the direction of Joanne Buntage and Growth Management, along with Melissa Hirsch, we've developed, a summer concert series, tried to have, the artist shanties and tried to have year-round art activities going on. So there's still a very vibrant art community and activities going on during the winter months as well as the summer.
And we look forward to what this money will provide. Yeah. There's one more grant we have to talk about, the Edward Byrne grant, and that's actually for a new position of a police officer for the town.
Yes, it's going to fund police officer, it's about $76,000, so it covers, the initial salary and all the fringe benefits and everything. And I talked to the chief this morning about that. He was very pleased to be able to get that grant because it relieves some of the pressure on his budget because we're all under stress in terms of reducing budgets. This helps carry a position for a year, and it comes through the American Recovery Act funding, so he's very pleased to receive that money. One other item that we should definitely talk about that we hope that there'll be action on is the $525,000 appropriation for the bulkhead, the Barnstable bulkhead. We were very successful, as I'm sure viewers know, at the end of last year getting $3.75 million from the governor to replace the Barnstable bulkhead. We've got $725,000 that was appropriated last year in a bond issue, and the councils will be debating and deciding on whether to have additional bonding of the $525,000 to cover the rest of the money that's needed to meet the $5 million to rebuild the bulkhead. And that bond will be paid back by the users, the actual slip holders throughout the town, who will be actually paying for this service. And I should just check to make sure that's I don't want to get the wrong sum out there, but it is $525,000. So it meets our obligation, so we can sign the contract and proceed with that allocation the governor came down and awarded.
Wonderful. There are a couple different zoning amendments that are going on. Could you tell us a little bit about those?
There are several zoning changes that folks have asked from different villages. Those will be referred to public hearings through the planning board and then come back to us. There's also the District of Critical Planning Concern for the Craigville Beach area that will be coming up. And there's the acceptance, very important acceptance by the council of state passed law that would enable us to delay the collecting of our this quarter's taxes till January. So we won't have to send out preliminary tax bills. And that was passed by the legislature to give all cities and towns additional time, because the state hasn't had time to do all of its work of certifying various tax information they have. So we're very hopeful that the council will pass that so we can put those bills out and keep the cash flow for the town moving forward.
There's one other item I'd like to talk about, and that's the appointment of the Director of Growth Management. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, the town manager will be putting forth to make permanent Joanne Miller-Buntage's appointment as the Director of Growth Management. She's been a very valuable member of our management team, very smart about zoning and growth management issues, and has been doing a good job for us. So we hope that the council will concur, and that will be will take the interim off her title.
And we do hear from her at 8:05 in the morning on Tuesdays on Barnstable This Morning.
This is a shameless plug for Barnstable This Morning, but it's been a very, I will point out that I've been watching it the past few days, and it's a lot of information. I hope viewers get a chance to watch it in the morning as they're getting ready. And
in addition to the Town Council, there are a number of other boards and committees meeting this week. For Tuesday, January the 5th at 6:30 p.m., the Conservation Commission has a hearing in the Town Hall hearing room. Then on Wednesday, January 6th at 6 o'clock, the Cape Cod Commission will host a Yarmouth Road Willow Street Corridor Project informational meeting. Also on Wednesday the 6th at 7 p.m., the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission will meet. And then on Thursday, January 7th, the Town Council will meet at 7 o'clock in the Town Hall hearing room.
Well, that's all the time we have. For Kevin Friel, I'm Nick Cortese. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.